folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy. It's actually a wonder that I'm streaming right now. I got sucked into a game, didn't think I was going to be able to break control of that game over myself, but here we are. In case anybody wants to try it out, it's a fun roguelike deck builder game called Inscription. It's on sale right now, 50% off on Xbox, and I got sucked into it. I really need to get to the point where I am building those kind of things into my streams for That's Entertainment. I'm playing the games anyway. I might as well stream them. And I was playing that game for probably like 2 hours today. Aside from that, what we're going to be doing today, you can still hear, I kind of got the kind of stuffy sound in my voice. What we're doing today is working on a bonus map that our backers from the Kickstarter campaign are getting. They're getting it because they were day one backers, so there's 5 maps. Technically ends up feeling like 9 of them, I think. But this is one of those 5 maps that their pledge got them. So we've got this map and one other map that we have to wrap up. As you can see here, it's a chessboard. We're trying to do something with a chessboard in the middle of the forest. I thought that would be kind of like a fun encounter for people to have. Probably not going to be a huge amount of points of interest like we usually have, but I might be able to kind of sprinkle some stuff around and see if there's, something that we can do here and there. But really, it's very close to being done already. The only thing that I really have to do is kind of fill in the empty space that we have. So what we're going to kind of do is kind of like a yin and yang sort of situation where, let me lock these down so they're not getting in the way. We've got, a little bit of an overlap that's coming down here, and then another one that's coming up here. And then the way that we have it is, I kind of want it to be, if someone is controlling stuff on this side, I want them to be able to chill out and sit on a rock. And if someone is kind of conceptualizing and kind of running running the game board like actual pieces, I want them to be able to kind of sit here and kind of be like the player who's, kind of deciding where things are. Now, what you'll notice is there's no white pieces. The idea is the player, the adventurers, they're going to be the white pieces. And then we'll probably do a variation where some of these are moved. I might even do like a little bit of chess research and figure out like some of the most impressive like opening gambits and stuff like that, and move things around just to kind of make it so that people who do pledge chess, they're a little bit more familiar with things and it feels a little bit more lived in, so to speak. But what we're going to do today is we're going to throw some forest together. So let's go into our trees. Not going to do anything too crazy, but we are going to bump up the size of these trees a little bit. I don't need them to be little rinky-dink trees. So we'll stick with 100, and we're going to start to build around the edges and fill out any of the areas where these green lines are. And we'll get rid of that path stuff in a little bit. I definitely want to kind of move some stuff around. We're not going to do just those kind of trees, so let's go back in and we'll get one of these thick old trees, because they definitely make things feel a little bit livelier. So I'll throw a couple of these in here. And that one I'm going to turn a little bit. I don't really want too much to be on top of the chessboard itself. A little bit of an overhang is okay. Let's get a couple of pine trees. So we'll do some of these, and we might even throw like an apple tree or two in there as well. These ones I am going to bring down a layer. I want them to kind of be obscured by the other trees. I mean, there are big pine trees and things like that, but I want it to be a situation where they're, dwarfed by these other ones in most cases. All right, let's go get those apple trees, and we're going to pepper a lot of this stuff with bushes and logs and rocks and stuff like that, so it should be something that we can do to kind of make it feel, again, a little bit more lively. We don't typically have too many deciduous trees in our maps, so we're trying to make this feel, varied and stuff like that. So let's do something like that. Let's get a fruit tree in here. question is, are they all the same fruits? Let's throw this one down here, and let's start to move our way into things like bushes and stuff like that. Let's see. My stupid schnozzle. Alright, we're gonna get some of these summer bushes, and we'll throw these a layer down as well because we want these to be a little bit more obscured. And we're gonna bring them down to like 60. I heard a buzz. Probably not an important buzz, but that's okay. Let's do a fallen tree that we have over on the other side. And we're going to say that this one wasn't too old. You know, it's still got a lot of its foliage and stuff like that, so we'll do something like this. Let's see, I don't usually mess with the settings of these too much. Let's see what happens when we mess with the height. Honestly, it doesn't look too bad. Alright, we're going to get a big boulder. I think in here it's just called a rock. So we're going to get one of these guys. And we're going to cover it over with moss when we're done with it. Let's see. I feel like this one's the right one. And let's do a smaller rock that we can throw in there with it. There's not too much that you can do with the rocks as far as like color schemes and stuff like that, but if we mess with the saturation a little bit and lighten it a bit and mess with the contrast a bit, contrast isn't really going to do too much, unfortunately. There's just not too much that you can do with the rocks to kind of separate them and pull them out and stuff. Let's grab. We've got these sharp rocks that are going to be a little bit too. You know what? I'm not too upset with the resolution of those. Just kind of like throwing little rocks here and there to add a little bit of a feeling of what's going on over here. Let's see. Let's save because 47 changes is a decent amount. Oh, you know what? I'm supposed to be testing to make sure my stream is running okay, and I wasn't paying attention. You can go away. I was doing the Santa house last time. There we go. There we go. Alright, let's zoom out, see what it looks like we have so far. Decent little bit. Still definitely have to do a lot more. Let's go grab one of those logs. So we've got the logs from the core set, and then let's see. And let's do the same thing here. We're going to mess with the height a little bit. Alright, and let's go grab some of those bushes again. Way too big. Gotta throw that down a layer or two. Let's do two just so that we can do something under the pine tree as well. couple more over on this side of things. Alright, I am going to save real quick, and I'm going to grab some inspiration from some of the other ones that I've done. So let's head into... I don't want to use the Forest Island Tavern. Let me go to our stretch goal map, because I think that that was one that I did pretty nice very quickly. Let's bring it over and just kind of look at what we did, because I want to fill in the gaps, but I don't want it to I want it to look pretty versatile. Why don't you want... There we go. Alright, so this is our high res stuff. Oh, you know what? That's definitely something that I could do. We could throw away, throw together some of these flowers and stuff. We could do a stump with some mushrooms. Let's do that over the fruit tree over there. Let's see. There's not really a lot of room to play with some of this stuff. Let's do our stump with mushrooms along the north side. Got a little bit of room there. Oop. Would help if I grabbed what I needed. And we're just going to use these little guys here. I'm going to try, let's see, real quick. Let's try and I'm gonna mess with the color of that a little bit if we can. Not quite doing what I want it to do, but we're gonna play with it a little bit just to see what it does. I'm trying to like give it like this feeling like stuff is growing alongside it. But I think the way that those mushrooms look, it's not really pulling it off the way that I want it to. Now we do have, excuse me, we have these what are they, Boletus polypore. These are the Boletus mushrooms. These might look a little bit better doing what we want it to. It's very hard to see in like the low res, but when we bump this up to a nice high res image, these should come through and look really nice. So we're going to do the same concept that I just did. I was trying for something a little bit more white, but we did not quite pull that off the way that I wanted to. Let's grab one more. We'll do another big one over here on the other side. We'll do this kind of curvy one. All right, and then we have the polypore ones. Let's put those, I'm sorry, these are the Boletus mushrooms. We'll put these ones around. Let's try and lighten that up a little bit as well. So we'll do something with the saturation, make it look a little paler. So it's kind of like our little mushroom flocking. Nothing too crazy, but we'll give it a little bit of sense of decay and stuff like that. We're actually going to, let's see if they've got like any kind of mossy grass that we can do, because typically mushroom plant matter starts to kind of eat away at the other stuff that you typically see. Let's see, we've got the forest floor stuff over here. Let's try and see what we have. Alright, so that kind of serves as our moss, but we're also going to bump this up a little bit. We'll do it to like 50 and bump this up a smidge. And as we draw this around the forest areas, it should make things pop a little bit more. So let's do that here and there. It'll make things look like fallen leaves and branches and twigs and stuff like that. It'll be a little bit more lively in its not aliveness. Definitely still need to fill some of this area in with some plants and flowers and stuff like that, but that's okay. Alright, let's do a couple of these flower bushes we'll throw in there. Let's bump this back up to about 30. Some of them down here. So I'm definitely taking some of the stuff out of the green. I don't want it to be kind of, restricted by what we have there. And we're kind of building these around the other bushes that we have. We're going to build these out this way. And let's go get some other flowers now. I don't usually like to use the blue ones outside of like watery areas, so we're not going to use them too much here. We'll use them kind of sparingly. Aha! I knew something didn't feel right. Okay, kind of go for these. Okay, let's go over to our purple guys. Yellow ones. You know what? With the yellow ones, they're very vibrant, and there's nothing really wrong with that, but we are going to mess with the saturation just a smidge. Apparently more than I thought we were going to. 60 is the number we're going to use. These have like a more frosty edge now. Unless they don't. No, they do. There. That's good. Use a couple of these here and there. So the green border, Kev, is just so that I could see like where the forest line was going to be. Because when I constructed this, I really just made all like grass space, and then I knew where the chessboard was going to be, but I wanted to kind of visualize where the various things were going to be. So I did that as kind of my path tool to identify where I wanted things to stop. So that's why I did the green stuff. And technically at this point, I don't really need that. I don't need the logs. I don't need the forest. I don't need the rock stuff. So we can actually go in here, and if we go into the concepts, we can bring this down to 0. That fades out, and then we have something that looks a little bit more realistic. Concepts was supposed to be locked. You see, if I bring this back up now, it's all moved about, but it was definitely supposed to be locked. I don't know why it went like that, but whatever. So let's, I guess the lock just means that, generally speaking, if you're not grabbing it through here, you're not going to grab it, but we're good now. So let's save. 114 is a good spot to save. Stupid sinuses. You hear it's clicking when I touch my nose. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of flocking with some stones, so let's do that real quick. Let's see if we have those at the ready. So it's not that, I'm guessing it's rock. Get it from the core, and let's drop it down to like 20 for this stuff. Let's do a couple behind the log, but we're going to do a bunch around and on the chest set itself. And I'm probably going to make a couple of changes to the chessboard still, because I changed certain things about the way the board looked and the way that the surrounding area looked. And like you can see here, like things kind of folded in a little bit, but here it's bigger leaves and stuff like that, and I might change that a smidge. Do start to show up, they're kind of obscured. There we go. Definitely want to have a bunch over here next to these rocks. And let's see. So we've got this big empty space here. We've got a decent bit of empty space over here, and we've got another little bit of empty space over here that we're going to try and figure out what to do with. Save it one more time because we did a decent amount of flocking, and while that's saving, let's go back into this image, see what we did right last time that we can kind of do again. Let's see what we got. I mean, not too much different than what we've already done. Change too much. I think it just needs more. So the problem is there's not like a lot of places for like branches or anything like that. We do have, let's see if we go into here and see if we play with this real quick. Kind of use that as like our path. Definitely not the right size, but I think that if we adjust it somewhat, there's a little bit more like natural detritus in there now. That kind of pops a bit. Let's see if we can do something over here too. And down here. In this empty space we can do it too. I honestly think kind of makes it pop. There's not too much that I would want to do. But we do have another alpha layer that we can use. So let's head into our cracked ground. I think that's in the dungeon set. Let's see, we've got this right here. So we're going to bring this down a little bit. And same with the size there. And now, if we do this, you'll see nothing's happening. It's just not in the right spot. So that doesn't make a lot of sense there. But there is a nice little crack in the ground that we can do. A couple more there, so that's nice. And we'll come up here, do the same thing up here, where we have the option to crack in the ground there. And let's head back over here. And we've got this stuff up here that we could do the same thing. Nice little crack in the ground there. Makes things feel a little more natural. You're seeing too much there. Here's got a nice little crack underneath the, oh, you know what? Here's the problem though. You can see the crack through that tree, so we're going to try and make it so that it's kind of coming up underneath it instead. There we go. And let's do a couple more things of stones here and there where we have that stuff kind of coming through. A lot of it feels like it's kind of built into the ground itself, but this will make it kind of pop a little bit. Okay, and then we've got more of this stuff over here. Oop, let's move that up a little bit. Honestly, that last little bit that we did made things pop without having to make things look too busy. So that's good. Let's do a little bit more, because right now everything looks very, you know, prim and proper on the grass part of this. So let's go and grab another brush style for that too. So we've got this grass here that we can kind of play with. Back down to 30 because we don't want the grass to feel too crazy. Oh, there you go. Got that big guy there that we're going to kind of move over, because the big ones are the ones that we had the problem with. So we'll kind of let that be our natural path up. Let's do something similar on the other side. I don't want to go over it too much, so we're just kind of clearing in some of the spots. Let's do some of it over there. We might make some bigger stones here and there just so it looks a little bit more natural. And then one other thing that we have to do is, if we head back to kind of our cracked layer, and we start to, let's save it just before we make these adjustments. Kev, how you doing, man? How was your day? Cleaned and making soup. That is the way to be, sir. Okay, do we have any other actually get rid of those bigger spots of grass here and there. Let's see, we're going to do one more pass there, and then let's go back to this stuff. So again, I don't really want those bigger chunks of grass. I want to do something that looks a little bit more to scale for where people would be. Sometimes that stuff works, but not for what we're trying to pull off here. All right, looking pretty good compared to where it was. Let's do a couple more rocks. So we're going to do a couple of these sharper, smaller rocks here and there. So we'll do and let's get our little guys again. I don't know why it finds 60 to be appropriate, because these guys are a little everywhere else. Also, new release plan for Geminus. A combination of what we've already discussed and more streamlined trilogy release. So Kev is doing a very cool little story of his own, kind of in like the veins of like the Tellest stuff that I'm doing, but he's doing it with a kind of sci-fi space odyssey Star Wars-esque feel. It's going to be really cool. Let's do, we've got the dirt path right here. Let's do something like a little bit more trodden. This is kind of our guide over here, so we're going to do a couple of passes so that we see this area is kind of step too far. And let's put a couple more of those little rocks next to the path on both sides. Star Wars, Marvel, and DC, Tellest, and Soured. I don't know what Soured is, but I trust you, Kev. Alright, we're going to go one more time, take a look. I honestly think things are looking pretty good. Let's call it. Let's go to the very cool thing about what we just did is that was it was just a half hour of work, 35 minutes. I mean, we had the general shape of it, and that certainly helped, and we had the chessboard and the pieces in play. But in the grand scheme of things, this really did come together very nicely, very quick, and I think it shows that now that I'm a little bit more comfortable with certain techniques, that making these maps is getting easier, it's getting quicker. So we are getting to a point where we're able to build towards this stuff a little bit more in productive ways. We are going to... The nice thing about this map was I'm very familiar with the forest stuff already. This is, at this point, like our 10th forest map. We could keep going back and making sequels to these kind of things, but it's the new stuff that you're working on every time where you're trying to kind of show yourself new techniques and kind of familiarize yourself with the palette and the stamps and stuff like that. So we're going to take a quick step. I don't know that we're going to be doing a ton of work on this map, but this is our 5th and final bonus map that we'll be working on. This is what I'm calling Shipwreck City, and keen eyes will be able to see, maybe not super keen, because it does not look 100% like what's inspired it at all. But if people are familiar with this adventure game that this is based on, and inspired by, you might be able to see various little bits and pieces that have come through. There's definitely some inspiration that I've taken, but I've also tried to make sure that it lives and kind of breathes as its own. The entrance of this city is supposed to be very much in reference to, yep, Monkey Island, sir. This is the entrance to the island, the city that's on the island in Monkey Island 2. So the first 2 maps, maybe 3, are going to feel very much inspired by Wood Tick from Monkey Island, but it's going to, at that point, kind of shift into its own thing. They have like a hotel, which plays a big part in the story, and instead of a hotel, that's going to be kind of like the gatehouse that lets you get into the city proper, because we're going to kind of, on the other side of the hotel ship, it's going to be expanding in some pretty big ways. But this is a nice little reference to something that was, like a big part of my childhood. We might do some other things like this in the future, where we take ideas and kind of clean them up for Inkarnate, but like, I'd love to do something with, like the cities from Final Fantasy, or caves or landmarks and stuff like that for Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda. Like, there's no way that I'm not going to do some kind of Master Sword-esque inspired place in a forest that has like a pedestal that you could draw a sword out of, or anything like that. So this is kind of your preview. I don't think that we're going to spend too much time on this one right now. Again, a lot of the bones of this is in place. And you can see I already got rid of the path for what I was doing to kind of shape this all out, but I was doing the same thing, Kev, with this map as I did for the forest, where you saw that green line, where I've been starting to try and use the path tool a little bit, as kind of like when an artist is sketching things out to try and figure out where the shape of things should be. If you're looking at Wood Tick in like the concept art and everything like that, it isn't, ground or anything like that. It's planks and stuff like that. And I think most of the pirate city is going to be that. There might be some islands on like the central area of the maps, and it'll be way, 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 way over here. But at least leading up to that gatehouse, it's going to be mostly planks of wood like this. And then we'll see, some areas where ships have become the buildings and stuff like that. And we're going to see debris and detritus and stuff like that. Right now, these are they're locked in, I think. Yeah, we have the shipwrecks that are locked in, but we're going to throw them under the water and kind of, give it like a gloomier feel and stuff like that. And I definitely got to put, some more stuff into the water here and there, but at least for now, this is just our preview, and then that'll probably be something that I play with during tomorrow's stream, and then we should be at that point, once this map is done, will be 5 bonus maps complete, and wave 2 of our Kickstarter content can go out, and then wave 3, if all goes well, should be ready to go out at the end of next week as well. So we're very close to already having, before the surveys are even out for the Kickstarter, having the ability to say, hey, we already delivered, we've already got everything that we need. Now we do have some wave 4 content that's going to take a little bit more work, because it takes a lot more work. Matt is building individual scenes for all the base 50 maps, so those will take a little bit longer over time, but still pretty fun with what we're doing so far. I'll leave that up, and then we're going to go to our show closing screen right now. Whoa, it's a good reason to be closing the show. I can barely talk anymore. So right now on the screen, you should see all the places that you can see Tellest content. You should be able to see most of our stuff at the website, tellest.com. We are touching that up right now a little bit. There's some things changing around the background. You know what, Rihanna, could I have a hot chocolate with one of our little chocolate stirring spoons? And then the Tellest website is going to, better explain all the things that we're doing, because we are doing the books, we are doing the tabletop RPG stuff, we are doing the spin-off games and all that stuff. So I want to do a better job of explaining things to people when they first get to the website, but that'll be coming over the next couple of weeks. If you want to see any of our premium digital content, so that is our super early art posts that you'll see on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or our maps when they're done that you can see on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we release them. If we release them, if we have the content. I make no promises of having a map every week or every Tuesday or Thursday, but when we have them, we try and release them on those days. You can find that on patreon.com/Tellest. Those art posts, by the way, we were looking at some of the stuff right now. The artwork that I have planned for the trilogy for Mageborn and Transformed and Wild Magic, that's already long before hit Patreon. I just scheduled it today for the middle of June of this year. So on Patreon, you definitely get to see things early, and I'm excited for everybody to see the stuff that we've got on its way. Excuse me. If you want to see these, wow, I was really starting to, I'm getting verklempt. Excuse me. In the lower left corner, you should see our YouTube channel. Eventually, Twitch drops these videos. We can only show these videos for a short while on Twitch, but you can always catch these videos on YouTube. I think today's video is going to be the first one that we've had up for a while, just because it wasn't a video that took 4 days to do anything. But if you do want to see these things live, the best place to do that is on Twitch. So you can come here, twitch.tv/thattellestguy, and you'll be able to see those videos here, as well as our Talking Tellests, and anytime I stream video games and stuff like that. If you want to see our premium physical content, and that means these maps as jumbo mouse pads, our posters, Rihanna's Weird Witch wands, all that cool stuff, you want to go to our Etsy store at tellest.etsy.com. You can also see when Rihanna puts up videos of her wands and our dogs on her 2 TikTok channels, tiktok.com/@weirdwitchwands and @talesofTellest. So that is going to wrap us up for today, because evidently I can't talk anymore anyway. If I would have been doing more, you would have heard nothing but gurgles and grunts. So, but thank you to everyone who was watching. Kev, thanks for dropping by and chatting. And we'll do this again tomorrow, assuming I still have my voice. So thank you, everybody. I'll talk to you later, and I miss you.